Alright, we'll do Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco, Alex Rodriguez, Mark McGuire, and what do they all have in common? Well, they're millionaires, they play sports, they have cars, they have big houses. Most of all, they use steroids. Today I'm going to talk about why we should have a zero tolerance policy for steroids use for athletes. I think it's downright dumb that people use them. It's not healthy at all, it's not safe, and this could jeopardize your career or whatever you're using them for. Steroids is a drug enhancement that helps athletes to perform their skills and get big. It copies the effects for male testosterone. It also builds up the cell tissue. This helps change your vocal cords and you grow excessive hair. I knew this guy named John. He went to high school with me, and we both were on the football team. And then I came back. We had summer vacation, and I came back. So I was out in Boston for like a month, and then I came back. I seen John in the locker room, and I was like, man, you got big. He's like, yeah, I know, I've been hitting the weights, whatever. I was like, oh, that's cool. So what did you do? He's like, I ate a lot, and I was just in the weight room 24/7. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I was excited because I was skinny and I wanted to get big like him. So I was like, okay. And then I went in the locker room. I was talking to my friend. I'm like, did you see John? He got big, man. He's like, CJ, are you serious? I mean, you use some pills. I'm like, you use pills? He's like, yeah, he used a couple of pills for steroids to help him build his muscle mass. I'm like, you're playing with me, right? He's like, no, I'm not playing. And then later on, I found out that he got kicked off the football team because he tested and he got caught. And then when I seen him, like 2 weeks later, walking around school, I'm like, man, that sucks, Head and Shoulders. I called him Head and Shoulders because he didn't have no neck. His small mother. And I was like, damn, that sucks. And after that, never seen him again. And then I remember watching ESPN, and then I remember seeing a fullback. He was writing a letter committee to the dean for his Arizona State college. He got caught using steroids too, and he wanted to come back on the team, so he wrote a letter of apology. And he wrote in a letter saying he used steroids because he wanted to get back to where he was at. He used to run a 4.7 to 40 dash, and for a fullback that's pretty good because those are big guys. And currently he was running a 5.2, so that's why he took it. And in my head, I'm like, this college better not accept him because he cheated. I mean, that was his fault. I mean, if he wasn't too busy feeding himself hot dogs, sitting down, eating potato chips, you know, he would have been physically fit. And people say I use steroids because I want to increase my performance skills. If you want to increase your performance skills, you should be practicing. Practice. It helps. You just need to practice. And I think the problem is that when we use steroids, people use it just to get, just to cheat. They're not being fair to others. They're not being fair to themselves. The problem is that we're lazy. We always try to find the easiest thing to do to get out of something. Steroids, it damages the liver. For men, we all heard that it decreases the testes. For example, I know girls, they like guys with muscles, who's nice and ripped and look good or whatever, and they like muscles because I guess they think they can protect them or whatnot. But when it's time to become intimate with that man, you know, some cases, you know, steroids doesn't help out. You know what I'm talking about. For ladies who use steroids, usually they use steroids for body competition, and for the effects with ladies, they have increase of werewolf hair during pregnancies. Male features could be show up in the female fetus and vice versa. In 2005 review in CNS drugs, when I'm using it, they found out that like you could turn into like a maniac because aggression kicks in, and suicides reported that they found a couple of dead bodies that they used steroids, and they found them in the system. In high school, 2.7% of kids still use it. Like Art McGuire, he's a candidate for the Hall of Fame in baseball. He admitted this year that he'd been using throughout his career, and later on he found out that to qualify for the Hall of Fame that he failed to attain election because of the steroids use, and so is Barry Bonds. Right now he's got the home run record, and he's getting held for it. It brings me to my conclusion that we should have no tolerance for people who use steroids for sports. I mean, if you do it on your own time without sports or competitions, that's on you. But like I said, for sports, it shouldn't be accepted, and shame on you.
So, Anadil, what did you think?
I like the topic. I like the opening statement about the athletes that use steroids, and I like the fact that he used jokes to support his claim. And yeah, the speech flew. It had a good flow to it. That's it.
Okay. I like the opening. I like the point of view that you're taking. It sounds mostly like you're going to be making a value argument, and you need to set up a criteria as to why it is wrong. And you basically say it's cheating. Well, make sure that you explain that it's cheating because it breaks the rules of the sports, because it violates the spirit of competition, because it gives some people an advantage over others. Tell us what the criteria are, and then you can use your examples and plug them in to show how that's been the case. The examples that you give us, I think, are interesting. They're entertaining. You've got the one personal example with the friend in high school as an illustration to draw us in. Then you've got some statistical information about the number of kids in high schools who are actually using steroids in competition, which sounds like it's not it's always a bad thing when it's happening. And you've got some statistics that suggest that it's not atypical, that it does happen with some regularity. I appreciated that. And your perspective on it, I think it's very clear what your perspective is. I think you just need to justify that perspective a little bit more. The letter that you're talking about for the one person who was trying to get in at ASU, I didn't hear the whole letter, and he says trying to get back to it. Now, is that because, you know, did he slow down because he was eating chips and watching TV, or was it, you know, something else, like an injury, for instance? Sometimes steroids are used to assist people in recovering from injuries, and then they keep using them as a way of getting back, and there are problems associated with it. So I think you need to give us a little bit more context on some of the information that you're providing us. Let's see. You do a nice job talking to the audience. It was easy to listen to you for the most part. You seem fairly relaxed, maybe a little nervous occasionally with the hand in the pocket, and you're not always consistent about looking up at us, but if I'm just listening to you, you sound actually pretty comfortable. There were a few terms that I thought were kind of interesting. Negative visualization, the werewolf hair that the women are developing, and, you know, that idea that, you know, in your romantic encounter, something is not going to be, you know, you're going to be left wanting. There will be problems there. You would think that would be a pretty good motivation for people to stay away from that stuff. All right, thank you.